Good morning, colleagues, and thank you very much to Mr. Mabizela for making my speech today. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be welcoming you on now that he's done with my speech. Let me acknowledge a number of colleagues who are with us today. We've got Dr. Clifford Ngumani, the National Research Foundation Deputy Chief Executive Officer, National Research Infrastructure Platforms. We've got Professor Stephanie Burton, who's the Thuso Resources Project Leader. We've got the higher education leadership, and before I get there, let me mention Professor Collie Whithen, who's the Deputy Vice Chancellor from Free State. We've got a number of directors for research within our university system. We've got some emerging researchers and scholars who are online. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the media, DSI colleagues, we have colleagues from USAf, we have colleagues from UP. The project has been conceptualized and implemented at various levels. I would like to welcome you all to the launch of this platform to advance early career researchers. It is so exciting for me to be part of this stage. I was at the Department of Science and Innovation at the time when we drafted the Human Capacity Development Strategy, or the Human Capital Development Strategy. And at the time, it was the whole issue of students, postgraduate students, and researchers. That was the first conceptual document which stratified researchers into emerging and established researchers. So all along, we had been working on researchers holistically, whether it's the NRF making calls, whether it's us conceptualizing programs, it was just about researchers. It was only after having had this stratification that we were able then to say, what is happening within this group of researchers? What would it take to take these emerging researchers to the level of being established researchers? And at the time when that was happening, when we looked at the demographics of the country, the professoriate was largely white and largely male, and we needed change within that group of academics. So it was clear that if we always focus on funding of postgraduate students, that was just going to be insufficient for the system. We wanted to have sustainability. And it was very clear according to the demographics that we're not going to have sustainability if we're focused on funding postgraduate students alone. We need to have change. And that change, it was evident that it would only happen when we do something in this gap in between. And that is when we asked USAf, as the Department of Science and Innovation, to carry out the study, to say, what is it that is happening within this group of researchers? And what would it take for this group of researchers to be taken forward? And we wanted just the challenges initially. What were the challenges around it, so that we can be able to drive whatever renewal which is necessary for the system, and whatever sustainability which is required for the human capacity of our system. And at that time, we found out that these established researchers, they were aging as well. So it was not just about race and gender, which was the issue. It was also the fact that according to the age, they were aging and something had to be done. So we started then to institute the study. On the other hand, Minister Nzimande from the Department of Higher Education and Training, in realizing that we need a much more sustainable system when it comes to the human capacity, introduced the whole issue of a holistic outlook into the human capacity in higher education. And that was, among the others, the introduction of the NGAP program, which created positions for early career researchers or young academics. That assisted a great deal because we knew that while driving the research component, now the positions are created. It was for a few number of years, but it taught universities that we could not afford to always recruit at the top end alone. We have to create entry-level positions so that people are able to be absorbed by our system on a permanent basis. So they created just that incentive, and the universities were required to absorb these academics after some time. And recently they've had a celebration where they have a number of those academics completing their PhDs. So what then happened is that while I moved to the National Research Foundation, we created another program which is taking into account the challenges that had been identified in the study. But this program was aimed at replenishing the world leaders in terms of our system. After creating this program, at least conceptualizing it, having clarity, I'm quite excited to announce that some of the institutions which are complementing the public higher education system, such as the Oppenheimer Memorial Trust, have decided to pilot that program that we have said that we don't have the money for. So that then is saying to us, we have to work in a collaborative fashion in order to drive the sustainability of the human capacity within our higher education system. So they are busy preparing themselves to drive that program. And that is so critical within the world which is busy scouting at talent. And it's so easy to take our talent in this country if we don't nurture it. It's very important that we consider it as the most important aspect of our higher education system so that we can retain the top-end talent, we can retain the academics holistically, we can replenish our system as people retire, and at the same time, we are in a position to say that you are still within at least the top end, considering the inputs that we put into the higher education system and our research system. So the creation of this platform for us, I would say, is a first. We are using digital platform to promote equity, to promote diversity, to promote inclusion. All along, we have been made to believe that the introduction of digital technologies is supposed to be a negative aspect where we always have to catch up or play catch up. This initiative is saying to us, these digital platforms can do so much to advance inclusion and to advance equity and to advance our needs as society. And for that, we are quite grateful to the USAf for the work that it has done, the collaboration that it has put together, within the team which has designed the platform and designed the core tools which are within that platform. I would like to mention the members of the project steering committee which has driven this work. Professor Sibu Moya from Stellenbosch University, she's the DVC. Professor Dina Berger, CPUT Director. Professor Collie Wetpen, I've mentioned her already. DVC Research from Free State. Jessica Singh from Limpopo. Val Theron from HEITSA, that is our higher education IT South Africa. Those are professionals who are heading our IT within higher education institutions. Professor Nosisi Feza from Univen, also DVC, Mr. Begi Hadeba, both the project sponsor from the DSI, and also he has driven this program with such diligence. It's always a pleasure to work with Begi Hadebe. It's seldom that one can say that to someone who once reported to you, but I have to say it today, speak the truth. It is always a pleasure to work with Begi. You don't have to constantly look at your back on whether things have been done or not. Mr. Chief Mabizela, before joining the USAf at DHET, he also was part of the project, and Ms. Nomvula Tsebe, who is within USAf, within the finance team. And the project team, which was driving the project, is driving the project even now. Ms. Janet van Rijn, she worked with us from the onset in conceptualization of that one, the study, terms of reference, getting service providers, getting the reports or the results out there in the public. And then she was supported by Ms. Sandra Lehong, Dr. Leandra Jordan, Ms. TK Kazimazondo, of course, the project leader I've already acknowledged, Professor Stephanie Burton, who is a USAf research fellow, but a former deputy vice chancellor at the University of Pretoria. And the uniqueness as well of the project is the collaborative nature of the universities. You know that everybody is concerned about the competitiveness of our higher education system. That being encouraged by the incentives that we get given for all the publications which are institution-based. This is history. This is exciting. It's so wonderful to see all the higher education institutions working together to bring in the tools that are required within our toolkit of the Thuso resources. So they have collaborated in that. And then the seasoned academics and researchers who are registering as mentors within the platform. We are so grateful for the work that they are prepared to do. And as USAf, we commit that we will continue to build the repository of resources on the Thuso resources and the database of the mentors on the Thuso Connect, so that the next generation of academics can get the support that they require. The project is advancing excellence, it's advancing inclusion, it's advancing digital technologies and their usage, and it is ensuring sustainability of our system. On that note, then, I would like to declare this launch open. Thanks.